What's up guys, Kate here with another cryptocurrency update. In today's video, we're going to be diving into XRP, QNT, Casper, and a few other alts. I hope you stick around for this one. So first things first, we're going to go and talk about the Quant or QNT price chart. Now in my videos, I know I often talk about 5x, 10x, and 100x potential. And some people that don't study the historical data think that's for hype or for clickbait. No, this is per the data. Even with QNT from its all-time low of this wick to its all-time high, around, let's just say like $400 plus. That's 240,000%. All we do is take the decimal place, move it over 2. That's a 2000x, or really a 2400x return from the low. Now, I didn't get it anywhere near those prices, but I just want to show you assets have done over 1000x returns in this market. And funny enough, with QNT, I was literally buying the top over here before the crash around $3. And it was thanks to Brad Lorry, a big YouTube channel, Blockchain Brad, back in the day, interviewing the CEO of Quant. And I mean, he had early 2018 QNT interviews. I have friends that were actually in the pre-sale. I was not. But it didn't matter because I realized that QNT had such a low supply. It had utility to operate the network and kind of use QNT as a license key. And during that time, there was FUD in the market. There was fear, uncertainty, and doubt saying QNT was a scam. It was going to zero. You didn't need it to operate over ledger. There were all these points that you didn't need as much QNT as we thought, so it wouldn't actually raise the price. And I just kept my belief because there was amazing researchers available. I saw the connections to SIA, this huge Italian banking consortium. And as we can see, turning on the lights, I just mapped an ascending channel. And look at this. This wick right here, mapping this trend line to the next point where it hit resistance and going all the way up, it mapped the first all-time high price for QNT around $15. And then after the crash, what happened? Following the same trend that we already had, this ascending channel and drawing parallel trend lines, it accurately predicted the first market top right here, which happened in 2021 when QNT went over $400. So pretty crazy. So as I showed you, QNT did a 2000x return from the low, okay? Very powerful, and that's what I want to emphasize. So for my strategy right now, I'm holding a portion of QNT for life. I've always said and always believed that it will be a 4 to 5 digit asset in the years to come, and I hope it happens sooner than later. But even just following this middle trend, I mean, you can see $1,000, $5,000 plus QNT in the future, and maybe even higher. Anything's possible, but we just have to cross that bridge when we get to it. If you say, yeah, Kevin, it's going to go to $1,000, but that's only a 10x return. Well, if you can find another asset that has the legitimacy like QNT does and true utility and partnerships with some of the biggest banks in the world, then yeah, it's up to you. But I'm holding a portion of QNT for life. All right. And not financial advice, but if an asset ever does, a 10x return, I always, even if it's probably a 4x, get my initial investment out, and then I can just hold a portion for life. So just wanted to emphasize that. Remember, 200,000% up from its all-time low price. So when I'm talking about assets that are only, let's say from this low, we're talking about assets that are only up, 50% or 200%, it's because I'm comfortable swinging the bat with those assets when they already had a previous high. And after that previous high, what happened? These assets crashed 70, 80, and in this case, 90% across the board. And what happens after these 90% crashes in the market? Well, it goes on for another rally. In this case, this is a 300x. As we can see, 30,000%, take the decimal point, move it over 2. 307x return. So the opportunity is still there. And yes, it is hard to find these gems early. I completely agree with you. And that's why I'm focusing a lot more on assets that appear to be around these levels of their 236 or maybe a little lower, because time and time again, as you can see, rejected the 702 twice, double top, came back down, and then finally blasted above and beyond. If you guys do anything today, I highly recommend just watching the last 10 minutes of this video. Listen up, my $20 million mistake in the cryptocurrency market. And I just want you to start at maybe the 10-minute mark and understand the opportunity at hand when it comes to compounding returns. I think if you're brand new, this is going to be extremely helpful because I talk about two cases of if both your assets pump or if one pumps before the other. And I really show the math of where it gets incredibly powerful. And I think it's good to conceptualize and visually see this. And I've had a lot of great feedback and a lot of people saying it's clicking now. So I'm so happy to hear that. So just remember, QNT reached almost a 34 extension. Chainlink reached a 34 extension. Matic reached a 34 extension. Those are the moon scenarios. Of course, I can plot higher fib levels, which are also part of the Fibonacci ratio. And that's what I use, just above the 4.236. And I also like using those negative fib extensions as well, especially if I do, some upside down fibs or, swing low to swing high fibs. And keep in mind, I'm using data of several years to look at some other assets and see if maybe some of their fractals could rhyme on the 4-hour versus the weekly of other time frames. And I mean, even API3 with the symmetrical triangle, could it come down and close any potential gaps down here? Absolutely. But as you can see, we are coiling up. It's getting tighter. And this is the API3 and tethered price chart. You can look at the API3 Bitcoin price chart. And I'm telling you, Link, a variety of assets across the board, when they form this type of triangle and they do in fact break out and start closing above this triangle, they usually take a measured move back up here. So I'm seeing an easy 5x in the future. Of course, my other targets in the future would be $40, $80 per some other trend-based fibs. You can ignore that. I'd say 160, and then eventually, maybe, and this is fingers crossed, provided the assets survive and continue to build, a $300 valuation. So these are the same feelings I had when I was buying QNT at $3 and it goes to $400. It took a long time. It was from that high ranging 550 plus days. Right now today, we're around 322 days. And of course, this triangle takes us around this level. So something to consider, not financial advice. Remember, technical analysis is just looking at the past, historical data, and trying to predict the future. But we want to find confluence. I don't want to just find confluence in the chart and say, ooh, the chart's the same, it's going to go up. That's not how things work. I want to look at the fundamentals. I want to understand social engagement. I want to see what's being built. And remember that API3 is in the top 10 most active projects via GitHub for contributions and overall commits because they're building something for the future. I want to find assets when nobody cares about them. They look at the chart and they look away because everybody, after a big candle comes, they're going to want to talk about it and buy it. And you have to position yourself in those assets beforehand. And even per my previous video talking about those returns of compounding your wealth, it does not have to be my altcoins. I'm just using these alts because I'm familiar with them, but you can use any alt that you so choose. And also guys, CSPR Casper is available on Bitrue. The link to create your own Bitrue account and have another exchange is linked in this YouTube video description, and I also did in fact just retweet it. Next up, Matt Hamilton of RippleX, one of the smartest men in the space. If you've watched his videos going over what is Ripple, what is RippleNet, what is the XRP ledger, and what is XRP, I think it would absolutely blow your mind, so you'd better understand the future potential of this asset. The XRP ledger was the first blockchain to allow the tokenization of assets back in 2012. This is before Ethereum. We have a variety of currencies: US dollar, euro, British pound, Canadian dollar, Mexican peso, Korean won, etc. And notice right here, having Stasis issue euros on the XRP ledger as the first major cross-chain euro stablecoin is fantastic news. And of course, I'm sure you guys have all seen this yesterday. Stasis will be issuing euros on the XRP ledger. So Ripple will provide Stasis with the technical support to integrate the largest euro-backed stablecoin, EURS, with the XRP ledger, and the full story is available right here. So this EURS is the leading euro stablecoin among the top 10 stablecoins globally. And remember, the XRP ledger is built for payments. Ethereum, the king of smart contracts, it's not going anywhere. But I just want to emphasize that there's going to be many chains in the future. It will not just be one chain. And I'm not betting against a lot of these ISO tokens like XRP to dominate in the payments space. HBAR, another contender. I think it's going to do great things. Algorand, XLM, of course. But I still believe that XRP has its rightful spot per all the information that we've shared over the past several years. On another note, iTrustCapital linked in the video description. It is completely free to have your own crypto individual retirement account, IRA, or a 401k. When I used to have an employer, I took my entire 401k and liquidated it into crypto. And I have a Roth IRA with this platform for 0% capital gains. So all tax-free, highly recommend it. They are officially a unicorn. Use this link. It is linked in the video description to create your own account today and leverage the tools available because guys, taxes in the United States, whether it's 25% or 40% is insane. So I want to have a vehicle that when it's yielding millions of dollars, I don't have to pay a penny in taxes. And in my opinion, I know some people will disagree. I think 401ks are some of the biggest scams out there. Early on, yes, or unless your company has aggressive matching rates, it could be worth it. But right now, I am not interested in the stock market. I have exited the stock market and I am a bull on the cryptocurrency market for the next decade. We've seen the trajectory, we've seen the stats of the internet growth versus this. This is literally the dot-com bubble 2.0. There is so much opportunity. And I don't even know what to say to people that don't think crypto is going to continue to grow with the rise of DeFi, digital currencies, metaverse, NFTs, patents, and all kinds of information becoming tokenized. The securities market is being tokenized, real estate is being tokenized, you name it. So props, because guess what? We are all still early. Next up, from Quant, there are 27 million developers in the world. Less than 1% of them understand the complexities of blockchain. So Quant empowers 27 million developers to become certified blockchain experts. The builders, this is so important for the ecosystem to grow because we need more devs in this space. We need to break the barriers to entry and encourage people to learn, because when there's more builders, there will be more users. We have launched the first of a series of online courses with King's College London to help millions of developers worldwide without specialist blockchain knowledge create applications and serve a market expected to be worth almost $40 billion by 2025. We are 3 years away from this type of market valuation. And currently, less than 1% of the 27 million devs understand the complexities of blockchain tech. Overledger of Quant is the world's first blockchain-agnostic API gateway. And the best technologies that I'm interested in are in fact blockchain or chain agnostic. API3 is also chain agnostic. Why? Well, if it's an ERC20 token, it can always pivot and leave the Ethereum blockchain or build bridges to other ecosystems. So QNT, incredibly adaptable, versatile. And same thing with API3. People don't realize that Matic, Harmony One, Phantom, these ecosystems, and Near are all growing. Now, these layer ones are killers in the space, and who's partnered with all of them? API3. It's not by coincidence. Also wanted to emphasize some key levels for the Casper price chart on the longer term time frame and just show you what I'm seeing per fibs. This was retweeted by me a while back on the 15th if you guys are curious. And yes, you can look at the all-time low, you can look at potential downside and draw some fibs and try to discover price discovery as the worst case scenario. But I'm incredibly bullish for 2022, and I'll share why. If you are a Casper holder and you do anything today, I implore you to watch this podcast right here by Bull Flag Group, Robert Ventures. They speak about the roadmap for Casper, with Casper 2.0 launching later this year. They talk about having NDAs with many of the top Fortune 500 companies, talking about the plans that they're already working on for patents, of course, and intellectual property being tokenized on the Casper blockchain, partnership with the Blockchain Service Network in China. And oh yeah, also, they are working on asset tracking and supply chain management. This is another L1, layer 1 crypto asset and network that I believe is set to dominate in the future. Highly recommend watching. The last 10 minutes of this 20-minute podcast is absolute gold. Also, XRP Crypto Wolf, we have the XRP ledger is trending, but look what else we have trending. API3 and, of course, Near Protocol. Keep an eye on this. Also right here, Monica Long, General Manager of RippleX, talking about this huge news for the XRP ledger. And remember, they're part of the Digital Pound Foundation and all of these other associations. They continue to build despite the biggest lawsuit in history. And please remember, this is an asset that is still remaining in the top 10 while getting sued by the SEC. There's going to be other big players that are getting tackled, I know. Terra Luna, potentially Cardano. And that's just part of the game. The SEC wants a little money. They want to try to get fines wherever they can. But I'm telling you, my personal belief is that XRP survives. It's not just because I'm guessing or I want it to. And I do have a vested interest because XRP is one of my biggest holdings for good reason. Please remember, we have Craig Phillips. We have the 43rd Treasurer of the United States on the board. We have some of the deepest connections in this entire space. And the former president of the DTCC, who sends over $1 quadrillion per year, coincidentally starts looking at blockchain after, of course, joining the global payment steering group of RippleNet, which is Ripple itself, with some of the world's biggest banks. And it's one of the very few assets in the top 10, even the top 50, that has sent billions of dollars of its token XRP being used by real financial institutions in the institutional landscape. It's not just retail speculation, it's actual live utility. And there's so many case studies available, so highly recommend checking them out. Also, Uphold has announced that QNT is being listed next to New Cipher. And if you're ever bearish on XRP and you're losing hope, please do a deep dive into standard custody and Polysign. Right on Polysign.io, this is massive, and keep in mind, these are the creators of the XRP ledger, Arthur Brito, the man, the myth, the legend, and David Schwartz. Side by side, another previous Rippler, Antoinette. and she was the CCO, the Chief Compliance Officer at Ripple Labs. And keep in mind background at PFG, MUFG, and HSBC, both RippleNet partners. Side by side, some of the biggest names in the entire financial landscape. Retired VC of BNY Mellon, one of the biggest banks, responsible for 1/4 of global institutional assets. And Jack McDonald, inducted into the Global Custodians Legends of Industry. Can you imagine and fathom the network of these two gentlemen in tandem with these three rock stars? Designer of the XRP ledger, co-designer of the XRP ledger, chief cryptographer at Ripple. Also, we have HBAR listed on eToro. Full disclosure, I've never used this exchange, but it's great to see that another massive exchange with 25 million users now has exposure to HBAR. And HBAR, right side by side with XRP, XLM, and Algo, are my bets that are absolutely here to stay in the future. Just look at their governing council, look at the news that they're working on, and also do not forget about NFT.com. Something big is happening. There's been so much funding behind the scenes. And of course, Ubisoft, one of the biggest gaming companies in the world, now on their governing council, side by side with some of the world's biggest banks. Speaking of that, right here shared by Landon, Hedera has officially surpassed all Ethereum and Bitcoin transactions combined. Look at this chart. Absolutely insane. And it's also because it's so much more scalable and faster. We are talking virtually infinite versus proof of work systems. Now, ETH is going to proof of stake. That's great. ETH is here to stay. But in terms of more efficiency for the future of Web3, Hedera is greater than Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I still hold Ethereum. Full disclosure, I'm not betting against it. I'm just saying that I'm looking at other altcoins like HBAR long term for a much higher yield. Ethereum has gone up hundreds of thousands of percent since, 2015. HBAR, we're still getting started. But alright guys, that is enough out of me. Appreciate all that like and subscribe. And as always, you can find all links and resources in the video description. Be sure to check out iTrustCapital, and until next time.